What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PC Tech Review 101, coming back to you with another OEM PC conversion into a gaming case. Now for this video, I chose this old school HP Z420 workstation. Now back in the day, this thing was pretty powerful. It features a Xeon E5 1620 3.6 GHz 4-core 8-thread processor, along with 32 gigs of ECC DDR3 RAM. Now stay tuned and find out how I turned this old school workstation into a gaming beast like this. Now let's take a look inside before I take out all the necessary parts for a successful transfer into a gaming case of my choice. This old HP workstation came out back in 2012 and it was considered a pretty powerful machine, and still can be a great gaming computer in 2019. This motherboard can take up to a 8-core and 16-thread processor and up to 64 gigs of DDR3 ECC RAM, and it also supports SLI and Crossfire. Now let me take everything out of the case and show you what are all the parts we need for a successful transfer into a gaming case. So here we have all the necessary parts out of the HP Z420 workstation for successful gaming case transfer. Now let's go over all the parts and pay attention. First, I'm going to really quickly start off with this IO shield here that unfortunately this HP workstation does not have a removable IO shield, so I kind of had to put this together. But don't worry, you're not actually making it an IO shield. It's not as hard as you think. So basically, on the outside of the case, you're going to have this sticker-like material. It's pretty durable. It's thick. I'm going to show you here. See right there. So what you're going to do is probably use like a heat gun or a blow dryer to warm it up, and just maybe at the edge over here slowly peel it off gently, so that way you don't rip any of these thinner parts of the sticker. And then you put that to the side. Now also, once you remove the motherboard out of the case, you'll notice right where on the inside of the IO shield there's this aluminum IO shield frame that's attached. Now I used a screwdriver flathead to pop it off. It's kind of like riveted. You see these rivets in there? It's very easy. Now I know it looks all crooked and wrinkly on the inside, but we don't have to worry about anything because we won't see this once it's in. It's the outside part that matters. So what I did was I just put some clear tape to hold it together, and it's not bad at all. And we'll take a look at the end, of course, see how well it looks at the final transfer. Okay, now let's look at the very important things here. Let's go over all the connections on this motherboard that you'll need in order for you not to have any kind of errors upon boot up, or that fan kicking in at full speed, which is completely annoying, and in my opinion it's not even worth it at that point. So we have to take care of quite a bit of things in order for that not to happen. So these are all the connections here. I kind of left this front thing on here to show you. So the good news is this part here is a non-proprietary front panel audio, so it should work with the case of your choice, as you could see it. So I'm gonna unplug this and show you further down here. Here, this part I have cut off. This part will stay on the motherboard. This is a proprietary firewire connection, so you won't be able to use this. Again, we'll just tape this up and kind of hide it underneath. Let's move over here to the right. This is the front panel here, USB 3.0 connection. I'm going to go ahead and plug that. That will also be used from your gaming case, and next to it is a front panel 2.0 connection. So I'm just going to go ahead and just unplug that. So at this point, you're no longer going to need this connection here. I just kept it just to show you. So say goodbye to this. Okay, so that's out of there. Okay, so one thing I must tell you, all the parts I just showed you, 1, 2, and 3, they have to be connected. Also, this one too, of course, and so is this, the front panel, the power on and thermal sensor. They have to be connected, otherwise there will be an error and the fans will kick in, and it's kind of annoying. So, for the case that you're going to choose, make sure it has both front panel 3.0 connection and 2.0 connection. That way you don't get an error. You can't just have just one or the other. Make sure the case has both. That way you don't get an error. I just really like everything to be perfect. Okay, next. This is very important here. This is going to be your power connection. Unfortunately, this thing has to be fully connected, and I wasn't able to bypass it in a way where you connect everything from the front panel and just maybe put some jumpers where it doesn't give you the error. So we have to keep this whole piece on. One of the main reasons is this thermal sensor here. There it is. That we're gonna hide underneath somewhere, and I'll show you at the end. And this part is your front button that you use to turn on and off the computer. See right there? This part, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off, this plastic piece, and basically this double gray wire, that's your power connection for your gaming case. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it somewhere there down. I'll show you at the end where I cut it, and I'm just gonna connect it and cut the new gaming case power connection. Just connect these two wires together, put some electrical tape, and that should be just fine. The rest of these wires here, I'm gonna cut them off completely, maybe closer towards here, and hide them. So basically at the end you'll just have this one wire coming out of here, and you'll have this sensor here, wire 2, that I won't cut, and that's how it's going to be. And again, I'm going to go over that again for you. That's very important stuff, so you don't get an error or the fan kicking in at full speed. Okay, now let's go over here to the right. This is some other important stuff here. Now I just kept the speaker for you if you want it, because it is a proprietary speaker and it has this connection here. Let me show you. But you don't need it because it does not give any errors. So I'm going to take this and just get rid of it. I will not use this for my build here. Next, this is one of the most important parts here. I was waiting this for almost a week. Again, this is another adapter that you must have, and I ordered on eBay. This was $9.50 shipped. It's a 24 pin into, let me see how many, I just forgot now. That's a 4 into 18 pin adapter. Now when you look for this on eBay, you'll know it's right when it says, it'll actually say for HP workstation Z420 and dash some other model, but that's how you know it's the right one. Again, this is only $9.50 shipped, and you will need this for a successful transfer. That way you could use a normal power supply. Okay, now let's move over to the top here. Again, as usual, I kept the DVD burner here. Chances are for a big case you probably have a slot for that, so you could use that, but it's not necessary. That's optional, so I'll put this to the side. Let's go over a couple of things here. Now, there's a couple of more items that must be plugged in, otherwise you'll get another error. So here, this part we're going to have to keep. This is the RAM fan, and it kind of goes over here like that. Has to be connected right here. There's a 4-pin right over here. Now actually, now that I thought about it, you might just plug in an extra fan at the top of the case, and maybe that'll take away the error. That's probably I'm gonna test that out, and I think that should be fine as long as something is plugged in this fan. So it's up to you. It kind of just stays here. It doesn't bother this connection. It'll stay down like that. Also the rear fan here. Again, if you want to keep the original, it'll look something like this. This is a 92mm fan. You kind of could keep it like that, it's up to you, but you could also get a bigger exhaust fan. There's a 4-pin connection, but you could use a 3-pin connection, which I've tested. A 3-pin exhaust fan connection will be just fine, so I'm just gonna unplug that for now. And chances are here you just have a, you know, maybe a top mount fan with a motherboard pin connection. A 3-pin should be fine also. I'll test it out at the end once I have everything built completely. Now here we have the CPU cooler. This is definitely, I'm gonna keep this. There's absolutely no reason to change this because it's pretty beefy looking, and you're not overclocking. You can't overclock on this motherboard, so this will be just fine. It looks pretty decent. And we have, this is definitely proprietary. It's like a 5-pin connection here, so you're gonna have to keep this. This is not a 4-pin, it's a 5. It even has that extra wire going in there, so definitely gonna have to keep this. And once again, this motherboard did come with 32 gigs of RAM. They're originally connected all on the right side. I might mix and match and put some here to get on the other side. I'm not sure why that's like that, but it's been running fine just the way it is. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for the transfer. All we have to do now is take a look at the final product and go over one more time all the cabling and wiring and see how well it all came out. So stay tuned for the final transfer. Well, there you have it. The HP Z420 is finally converted into this gaming case. Now let's see if this bad boy starts right up. And there you have it. As you could see, it starts right up, no issues at all. Now let me go over some of the parts that I used. For starters, I had this old, I guess you could say at this point it's over 10 years old, this Cooler Master Stacker 830 case. It's pretty big, but surprisingly it's not that heavy. It's a real pleasure to work in this case. There's plenty of room, and very easy to go and maneuver some of the wires. I know inside it's not the prettiest wiring because there is really no way to hide the wires when it comes to this case. It's really made for convenience and really has really good cooling and stuff. Also, I end up using a generic 750 watt power supply, name brand Solid Gear. I wasn't gonna go any higher wattage for this build. Just wanted to see if the conversion could be done. So as far as I know, I have no issues, and I tested this rig already with this cheap power supply, and it seems to be running pretty good. The graphics card I used is the EVGA GTX 970, which is working pretty well with this processor. Also, like I mentioned before, it came with 32 gigabytes of DDR3 ECC RAM. Originally, when I first took this thing apart, all the RAM sticks were on the right side, but I spread them out the right way, the way the guide says. So 2 8 sticks on the right and 2 8 sticks on the left in the black slots for the optimum performance. And I do have, as you could see on the left side, the RAM cooler fan right there that has to be plugged in. So after this full rebuild here, this transfer, currently I have no type of errors when I start up the computer. But I must admit, this wasn't the easiest gaming transfer case that I've done before. I originally thought some of the wiring on the bottom could have been changed around, but when it came down to it, there were some issues. And in a little while, I'm going to zoom in into the bottom section. That's where you really have to concentrate and really go over how I was able to get everything done. And also, I just put in a couple of LED fans, front 120 millimeter blue LED fan and a rear exhaust 120 millimeter red LED fan. And yeah, this thing performs quite well. I'm very happy at the end. And the good news is, and later on, believe it or not, this motherboard could be upgraded to a better processor, a more core processor, which is an 8-core 16-thread processor. I believe it's an E5 2670. Now later on, I may order this processor, as it's right now on eBay for really cheap. I believe 46 bucks shipped or something like that. So that'll be a really good upgrade for this thing. Currently, we are at E5 1650, which is a 4-core 8-thread processor, 3.6 gigahertz. But I will upgrade it to the 8-core 16-thread E5 2670 down the line, and maybe change some things around and do another video on that, and to see how well it holds up in some of the gaming tests I'm gonna do for the modern games. So yeah, let's take a closer look inside, and I want you to really focus on the wiring part because it wasn't as easy as I initially thought it would be.
Brechen Sie durch Barrieren, Cats! Mir gefällt das nicht. Sei stark, Hartmann. Befolge einfach deine Befehle. keine Rolle. Sie sind uns nicht gewachsen. Alles fertig.
Weiter auf der Straße! Zerstören wir ihre Verteidigung!
Sie fliegen! Wir haben wohl schon einen Tiger gesehen, ha?
Artillerie!
Abstand ein! Feindliche Artillerie auf dem Hauptplatz! Sofort vorrücken und zerstören!
Wir sehen bestätigen, Hauptmann!
Jawohl! Oberkommandant bereit. Befehl bestätigt. Rücken jetzt zum Ziel vor.
Artillerie anvisieren! Artilleriestellung zerstört! Jetzt die andere! Feind zerstört!
Scheiße! Schön! Kein Durchschlag! Wir haben hier eine Menge Gegner, Kommandant. Gnade ist Schwäche. Ich werde meine Mutter stolz machen. Das Ziel ist erledigt.
Das müsste die letzte Artilleriestellung gewesen sein.
Aktion 1. Feindliche Panzerdivision versucht, den Platz zu stellen. Sofort angreifen und abwehren. Mein Gott, das ist eine Falle! Mein Gott, Schnauze, Mann!
I can't. believe what happened. They must have seen the train coming. I should have known better. Those fucking... My dad tried to fight. So, they took him. My dad tried to fight.
That's not funny!
We weren't their only victims. But my mom managed to bring survivors together and we all tried to build a place where we could sleep.
Quit it!
That was too close.
Be careful! Don't do that again!
There's a tunnel up there that leads to Ho County. The highwaymen are blocking our way in. We're gonna need some firepower. Let's keep moving. threw that old 9 when I left to get help. There's a workbench inside. You can use it to build a weapon. The rush was supposed to be the final piece so that we could finally fight back. But now, we're worse off than we were before. I'm sorry about your people.
Yeah!
I'm sorry about your people. I promise, I'll figure out a way to make this right. There's that workbench in the corner. Dropped the vegetable, so let's build something. You can use benches like this to build makeshift weapons and refill ammo. for Ranger jersey.
It's not gonna defib out of that. It's all up to me now. I'm taking that armor.
You're good. Shit, Mom's gonna skin you alive messing with Ranger gear.
But it's still got a lot of jersey in it.
Yeah, but it's our only shot.
Lily, I need you in the garage. Walker, get your ass to the courtyard.
On my way.
Hey, Walker, Sergeant Mom needs you at the courtyard. Get going. Mom really tried to keep you out of that armor as long as she could. Wonder why?
Getting jealous, Lily?
Damn right I am. I would have been the youngest ranger to ever get sworn in, if not for this bullshit nanotrite crap.
Walker, what's keeping you? Get over here.
Hold on, Walker's inbound.
You remember what they told us at the academy about the ranger armors? You can overdrive when it's charged. Cut your enemy to pieces. we can jumpstart this. Clear.
Wait! I hope you got something for me in here, Browley.
Unknown intruder. This is Presidio Security Protocol. State your name, rank, and business.
Wall Rat Unit, Corporal Walker. I'm here to find information about Ranger Unit Sergeant Rowena Browley.
Processing. Security Protocol override.
Walker, you're seeing this message. It means we've been hit harder than ever before. I'm likely dead, and Vineland is late. It also means that you're the only living Ranger, and that the authority is back, and they must be stopped. All these years I kept you away from the rest of the Rangers, as I hoped you would be spared in an attack like this. Likely targeting Rangers and Elders. You're my hidden weapon. Sorry I kept you in the dark. You now have full access to Vineland's primary arc, and the technology inside, the old icebox. Imagine spending hundreds of years in this thing. It was me, your parents, all the originals. Froze up like pasta.
Many of these people are armed. I heard they brought in reinforcements.
I'll stay out of their way. I want to avoid what happened with the last cell we took down.
They must know we were at the other site. So much for a night off.
Where did Dominguez go?
He can't be far. He must be in the courtyard somewhere.
Yeah,
Let's look around.
someone must know something.
Hey, Sammy, how's it going?
Any sign of him?
No. Let's keep looking.
I'm not really used to crowds.
You'd rather storm guards or the deathless?
No, this is fine. Jonah, he's at the gate.
Good. You sure I'm not followed?
I think I can find another way over the wall.
I'll take care of these guys. Hey, fellas, how you doing?
Good. You can't come through this way.
I heard there was some kind of crazy fiesta, like chicks and skull makeup. Y'all know anything about that?
It's not for tourists.
No, you know Maria, like, you know her? She's my cousin. My abuela, she was from here, don't look like her. I wanted to make like an offering. What's that thing you do with the blankets? All right, you know what? I can see you guys are busy. I won't waste any more of your time. Y'all keep on trucking. Thanks for your service. Keep it safe.
Jonah, I'm in.
Good. Those guards weren't at the gate earlier. Dominguez must suspect something.
Excuse me.
You made contact with the High Consul, Commander.
Yes, sir. Even after the fiasco in Brazil. No one questions your leadership in the organization. Yes, sir. They are ready for anything.
Jonah, Dominguez is not just the leader of this cell. I think he's the leader of Trinity.
We need to be careful. Laura.
Yeah, I heard you.
Disculpe, señorita.
My fault.
Someone set off a trap at the first site. We think it was Croft.
Wait,
What's wrong?
I want confirmation. No more kissing.
I'll make sure we get visual confirmation.
Jonah, they might have noticed me. I'll try the back alley.
I'll find another way around it.
Doctor, son muchos de sus hombres.
Can never be too safe. You're very gracious. Thank you.
We should go. Yeah, this is Commander Rourke. Dominguez wants confirmation Croft is here. You have the photo. Female, Caucasian, early 20s. You got that?
Well,
Good. They'll find her.
don't worry. Go.
The readings at the site are unlike anything we've ever seen.
It's the key to our next phase.
If this is it, we'll be ready.
Jonah, they've entered the dig site. It's fenced off and there's a guard at the gate. I'll find another way in.
I found a good spot. I'll watch the perimeter.
Take him into the ruins. Is he far enough out of earshot?
No, please, don't make this harder than it needs to be.
Would you get it over with already?
Any final words? Wait. I'm a government official. I'm supposed to be here. Not anymore, Mr. Lead Archaeologist. Your employment has been terminated. Please, no. I have no.
Jonah, Trinity just tried to kill a local archaeologist.
Oh, God.
I have to find what they're looking for.
This is Commander Rourke. All teams, get ready for Operation Blackout.
I know this figure. Got to make my way down. Okay, this should work.
Commander Rourke. I want the site secured ASAP. When Dr. Dominguez arrives, we all go in together. All units, get ready. Dr. Dominguez is on his way down.
Damn, I better hurry. I've got this. The statue is looking at that cave. This is it. Jonah, I'm entering a cave. We may lose contact.
Copy that. I'll keep an eye on Trinity out here.